you there?
I'm here.
I didn't get everything. 5. Are you there?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Okay, we ready. Here we go.
Oh boy.
We are live. We are live. We are live now. Hopefully the camera's straight. I didn't have anybody to get me straight today, y'all. But when it comes through, hopefully we'll get it straight. 1, 2, 3. Welcome to the Parker Daniels Show, where we make changes. No excuses is our motto. Visual challenges in the everyday lives of blind people is our topic. Many of us, or many people, are closed-minded to the fact that when we mention topics such as this, that we're just complaining, and they don't really understand the situation. But this is no pity party that we're about to have. We're definitely going to delve into the lives of a young lady by the name of Jo-Etta, who is going to give us her interpretation of what her life is and the challenges that she's faced. Without further delaying, as I mentioned, this, we want to just let you all know what's going on in the lives of blind people, because many people feel that we're wallowing in self-pity. This is a situation that we just need to suck it up and whatnot. But we're here to just explain how our everyday life is, and just the challenges that we have to go through, the extra steps and whatnot, so that you can be informed. So please check out this story. Continue to subscribe, hit that notification bell, share, and tell a friend. So without further delay, let's bring on Jo-Etta and welcome her to the show. What's up, Jo-Etta?
Not much. Hello, everybody.
Can you get a little louder?
Hello, everybody. How y'all doing?
Okay, y'all can tell by that accent that it's from down south. What's been happening with you? What's been happening with you? You've been on here, earlier in when we started the actual show. You were like one of my first guests. What's been happening with you?
A lot. I moved out and got my own apartment. Had a few health issues, but hey, I'm still here. I'm still standing, and I thank God for all of it. So no complaints.
Definitely. As we also do, give us a brief history of your eye condition, because as I mentioned, I want you to inform the people what's going on, and you have been here before. So if anybody else wants to know more about it, they'll have to revert back to the video. So just tell the individuals, the audience, a little brief history about your eye condition and what it's called and how has it affected you.
Ah, boy. Okay, for those that don't know, my disorder is called Vogt-Koyanagi-Harada syndrome. It is also known as Harada's disease, or by its short form VKH. It is multisystemic. It affects more than just my vision. It affects skin, joints, eyes, hair, and balance. And just recently, my spinal cord. So it's been one heck of a ride, and I've had this problem since 1997.
Okay, and what's the title? What's the title of the eye condition again?
Vogt-Koyanagi-Harada syndrome.
Is that a common thing, or is it something that is recently?
No, it's a very rare autoimmune disorder. It usually affects people of Hispanic or Asian descent. And back in 1997, I became a case history because I was the first quote unquote African American that ever had it. But in my bloodline, I have Cherokee. I'm also American Indian. So in the Cherokee bloodline, they have a marker trait that predisposes them to this, but it doesn't always activate.
Okay.
And in my case, it did. So, yeah. And it still puzzles them to this day.
Oh, okay. Now, I'm not going to try to pronounce the name of it. You appear to speak it, pronounce it very well. What does, how does it make you feel? Or basically, what's the person who has the eye condition? What are the ramifications?
Ooh, with my particular disorder, like I said, it's multi-systemic. My kids at first, when my skin started lightening up and I had these white patches, they thought for sure I was going to become Michael Jackson.
Oh, wow.
Because I do have some pure white patches on my skin that are not visible unless I show them. And it's a big mess. So for a while, it was on the back of my neck, my thigh, my stomach. And they were starting to get really large. And that's why my kids wanted to know if I was going to become Michael Jackson. Because I'm like, no, I'm not going to run around bleaching my skin. That's not going to happen.
Okay.
So that's one thing. My balance, if I'm walking anywhere, all of a sudden I'll either jerk to the left or jerk to the right. For no reason, just veer off. And matter of fact, one time, not too long after I got this disorder, I was actually walking home and a cop stopped me because he thought I was drunk.
Oh, wow.
So when I tried to explain to him everything and I gave him the number to call the doctors, he actually called them. He didn't apologize for what he thought, which really didn't bother me one way or the other.
Oh.
But he didn't know what to think of me. And I was standing there going, well, now. So, just let me go on about my way. So he did. And, but he got an education real quick.
Well, so, and you say he didn't apologize?
Nope.
Wow. That's a day for another subject. We can focus on that.
Right. That's another subject for
really,
another day.
Now, I know dealing with your eye condition is a challenge, but upon speaking with your sighted counterparts, do any of them understand your plight as a blind person, like how tough it is, or what you are going through, the challenges that you have to face, or are you facing? Do they understand that your sighted counterpart?
The closest sighted counterparts that do understand are my kids. Because they've watched me go through it. But as far as friends go, a lot of my friends, except for people at church, literally just kind of took off. Literally. Except for a very few that I don't get to see very often because they're in Oklahoma and I'm in Texas. So some of them, the ones that still stick around and talk to me by phone mostly, they try to understand, but they have not walked in my shoes.
Right. And the ones that you said they've taken off, is it because they saw the condition that you were in, or they didn't want to deal with it, or they just they just left? I mean, what was the situation that you never found out?
No, I never did find out. I mean, I tried to talk to him, ask him what was wrong, because no matter what, I always landed on my feet.
Right.
So I really don't understand that. But, if they have a hang up about it, it's on them.
Right. That's so true. So when you say they just left, I mean, once that you told them, or they saw your condition, they left, or after you told them, how was the sequence?
It was actually both. So, watching me go through it and trying to explain it to them, I think they couldn't really wrap their heads around it. So wow. They didn't know what to think. They didn't know what to think or what to do. So I guess they couldn't handle it. So
they left.
Yeah.
And a lot of this reason why I'm asking these questions because it's going to build up to to what the discussion is, which is the challenges that you have had to face and everyday challenges. That's why I want to ask you. So the next question is, do people try to like minimize, like if you ever talk about your condition as far as being blind and you know, your plight and what you face every day, do they minimize it by saying, oh, that's nothing, or they brush you off? How do you what kind of response do you get?
They have been really varied, because some people, they look at me, and especially when I had both eyes, it's, oh, well, you can still see, or you could do this, or you could do that. I said, you know, there's a lot of things I can still do, but there's also things I cannot do.
Okay,
like,
let me stop you before you go further. For individuals who are visually impaired, you said when you have both eyes, are you? I actually, you only have one. Okay, you know.
I only have one now. Yeah.
Okay, and the other one is a prosthetic.
I wish. I can't afford one right now.
Okay, so if I may, because I want to delve further into it. So the other one, one eye that you see out of, but the other one is what? More of a, is it? You just describe it to the people.
Okay, the one that they removed.
Okay.
There is a what they call a conformer, which is looks like a really outsized contact lens that's put in place inside the eye. So when you do get a prosthetic, there's a space in there where the conformer keeps open.
Okay.
So when you do get the prosthetic, it fits right on it.
Okay, and here we go. That all these are steps toward the challenges that you face, because I know you've dealt with, and not trying to. This is basically a sidebar. Dealt with kids who sometimes they don't understand, and that you can get stares, or they can just make comments that kids make and what have you. So you have to actually deal with that. But as you were relating to the other story, go ahead.
Well, when kids come up to me and ask me what happened, I sit down and explain it to them. I have no problem with that, because actually that opens curiosity up.
Yep.
And you never know, you might spark something in that kid that one day might make them think, hey, maybe I can help this person later on in school, in my grown life.
Great point.
Who knows? That can always spark a want to know field so big they don't know what to do with.
Right. That's a great point. Now, you were speaking about the minimization of
Excuse me.
That's okay. We live, girls. If you want to sneeze, burp, whatever, this is your show.
Oh, good Lord, Anthony.
That's my girl, y'all. We're speaking with Jo-Etta. She's talking about the challenges in which she faces every day as a blind person. But we're leading up to it because we got a little time. So welcome to everyone those who just started or just checked us out or just joined us. This is what we're going to be talking about. If you are interested, please stay tuned, because you're going to learn something. If not, then I understand though. But go ahead after she's.
Okay,
God bless you.
Yeah, I've had people come up on me, and the worst one was like when this lady went through in New York. That actually happened to me here. I was getting on the bus, and this man gets up behind me, and I have my phone in my hand, and I'm trying to get information on my phone. And this dude comes up behind me. Oh, don't let her fool you. She can see y'all. Really?
Really?
And I'm like, okay, this man's a moron. So the bus driver, thank God, who knew me, spoke up. He said, man, shut up. You don't even know what you're talking about. That woman is blind.
Mm-hmm.
She just happens to know how to work her phone, which is something you know nothing about.
Okay.
I was so surprised that driver spoke up, but I was glad he did. I've had people when I step out the door, it's almost like I parted the Red Sea or something. They just move.
Really?
It's like, I guess they think I got cooties or something.
Must be, but that's just them being uneducated. Before we go further, because I know you have a lot to talk about, I want to say that if I don't acknowledge these individuals that are in the chat, I'm doing my best because I'm working it by myself. Please forgive me. I want to appreciate the fact that you all are tuning in I know I called one of the guys Whistler. That's an individual who is doing this thing, and I kind of like his channel and whatnot. But in the meantime, we're definitely speaking with Jo-Etta. Continue to come in, and you all check out her story. So with that being said, that's why we're here for, so that we can educate the individuals and whatnot. So continue. I may jump in every once in a while. Go ahead. I do.
Well, yeah, I've had, matter of fact, not too long ago, I went on a job supposed to be face-to-face interview with this company that's a global company. I'm not going to bring up the name, but they know who they are.
Right.
And I get to HR. HR tells me to go around to staging. Okay. So I get around to staging, and I'm not by myself. And I came to tell the gentleman at the staging area, I'm here to see Miss Jennifer. And he looks at me and he sees my white cane. And the minute he sees that cane, he starts talking to me like I'm 2 years old and I don't know what I'm doing there.
Wow. And you know what? As I think about that, something, and this is not my interview, but every once in a while I'll chime in. But I was at a store, and I was with someone, and I was standing right close to the person and whatnot. The guy recognized me from somewhere else, and he was like, in the way he was talking to me, to my counterpart, was as if I couldn't talk or I couldn't hear, because he was like, well, is that such and such? Blah blah blah, and I had to stop. Yeah, I had to stop him in his tracks, but and let him know that my name is Anthony, blah, blah, blah. And I'm very blunt sometimes, and I don't really care, because I can't believe with today's technology you are still acting like this, and not just people who want to educate themselves. But what do you say, Jo-Etta, to people who say that blind people, we're always talking about our lives and looking at it as a such thing as we're being pitied, and what do you say to individuals who come up, or just in the middle of a conversation? Because people have to say, oh, y'all don't know, y'all got it good, blah blah blah, you got all this equipment, y'all, why are y'all complaining? What do you say to people who tell you these things, if you've had that happen to you?
You know the old saying, don't talk about a person till you walk a mile in their moccasins?
Mm-hmm. Or shoes.
Hello.
Mm-hmm.
Matter of fact, I've had one man do that to me. And matter of fact, I was at this restaurant, and I was doing some research on my phone, and I was recording the information instead of brailing it because I didn't have enough room. So I used my audio recorder to write down my notes, and I wasn't being loud or anything. I was just minding my own business. And he walks over and he goes, what do you think you're doing? And I'm like, excuse me? So he's, you're not blind and you can do better than this. And so he didn't see my cane. And I got up, I put all my stuff away, and then I extended my cane. And I looked at him and said, sir, considering you don't know me from Eve, you really can't talk about me. So while you're sitting here calling me blind, I think it's you that's blind.
That's true. And that's in a mental state. I mean, people can can have sight and still be blind to the fact. Let's go over like your day-to-day challenges that you have to face as a blind person, and let the people know, like, even though there are challenges that you do face, that you have a way of overcoming those challenges and making it work for yourself. So what do you have to face, just like, from day to day, let the people know. You got time.
When at the very beginning, when my kids were little, and when I mean little, 12, 9, and 6, little. Mm-hmm. My biggest challenge was to make sure I had things done every day where they could be able to eat keeping the bills paid. And this was even before I knew what a white cane was. I didn't get that help until 2010. So we're talking years later that I got a white cane. Years later that I was able to do Braille. So I'm doing this on my own, just me and my kids. And it wasn't easy at all, but I did it. You know, I managed to make a way to figure out my bills. I managed to make a way to get them paid. I managed to keep a house running, food going. I can still cook, so that don't stop me none at all. But I took care of my kids.
Now, one might check this out later on, like especially people who may have lost their sight later on in life, or you know, and you are used to it. What? Give them some go deeper into it. Give them some techniques that they could use that could help them when trying to do bills or trying to cook or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Because you know it's easy to say I did it, but let's go delve into the how you actually did it. So if there's any particular situation that you had encountered that you were able to create some type of way to make it work for you, tell us.
Oh, of course. Because I lost my vision later in life, actually. I lost it when I was 37. But I learned how to, like say if I'm in the kitchen cooking, I learned how to use this particular pot that was really awesome in visual service plus the art. They have this locking pot, has a locking lid on it. And it also has on one side holes in it. So like if you're cooking spaghetti or some kind of noodles or things like that, or potatoes, you can actually take that pot from the pot to the sink to drain it without taking the lid off.
Oh, wow.
So that helps a lot. With doing my bills. At that time, I had a little bit of sight, but at that time, rehab services gave me these notepads that have the big black lines on them, which I could see at that time. And they also taught me another technique called fold a line. So like if I needed to sign something, I could actually pinch it where the line is supposed to be, and I can sign right above it, and I'm able to do that. Now they have signature guides, letter guides, paper guides. They have all this stuff now that you can use to keep your line straight and not go crooked or anything like that. And the thing like the signature guide, it's big, it's small enough to put in your front pocket. So just like portable. So I would do that. I also had a talking calculator, which was a big help when it came to taking care of bills. So I had that. As far as my meat goes, I didn't have a talking meat thermometer back then. So I actually had to go by use my kid's eyesight, say, hey, y'all come look at this, tell me if it's, if it's white, if it's done. And so now I have a talking meat thermometer, which all I have to do is like stick it in the thickest part of the meat, like the thigh or the breast. And if it reads a certain temperature, I know it's done. Okay.
And what are the challenges that you face as a blind person that you would like, sometimes you feel like, man, if I had my sight, I could do this, or I would have to do this, because me, I can name a lot for me, but what other challenges let them know of other situations that you go through that may be a little harder to get to, but you do face them and overcome them. So.
Well, one of the biggest things I've actually learned when I went to rehab is that your sight depends on three things. Your sight is one, your balance is another, and your hearing or touch is the third one. Okay, when one is taken away, which is your sight, your hearing and your balance take over. So when I would be in rehab, like working on balance, trying to be able to walk without having a veer off or anything, they would help me slow my gait down so I wouldn't wind up falling, like say over cracks in the sidewalk, things like that. So I learned how to slow down a little bit, take more time walking and being able to do that. And my biggest thing is trying to remember when I sense something, move away from it. Because one day I was walking and I forgot there was a low hanging branch and walked smack into it. So I was
Don't
like,
look. Don't feel bad. My college days, I've walked on many sidewalks. I either cracked or had a car or maybe something that I couldn't detect, and I walked smack into it, or a tree. And that's the worst feeling, to have a tree that's a face level and you walk directly into it. And
yeah,
definitely.
yeah.
I'm getting comments from people, and they say that this is a great interview. So I give you a plus, man. I really appreciate this. I want to ask you, give us one more challenge, or one more piece of event that you go through from day to day that you wish, like, because I know when I was like, man, if I could see me, I'm just tired of doing such and such. I mean, tell us something, give us something, go more deeper into your life, and let us know that, man, if I had that sight, it wouldn't be like this. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I do. Okay, now here's one that I think I surprised the choir when I did this. Okay, they were trying to figure out how I was going to read the words to a song. Okay, now I still had a small amount of sight back then. But instead of me trying to sight read music, I asked them to just do it in large print. And what I wound up doing was using my recorder to record the music. And then I went home and I worked on it. And I used a memory trick to do it. So that's been one of my biggest things. Even through high school, I had a good memory.
Okay, yeah, that's very important. Very much
so
important.
Yeah, so I actually started mapping things in my head. Even when I'm walking, once you start mapping, you'd be surprised at what you can really do. So like saying you're in a new place, like a brand new apartment, right? You're going to get a little disoriented the first day trying to remember bathrooms this way, kitchens this way, right? Okay, well, I had it down in one day, period.
I can believe it. And you know what? As I expound on that particular topic, I've had people come, and just if you sit down, just think about it, you'll know. But it's just, you just have to answer. How do you get around in your room? How do you know? How do you know where your such and such is in your room? How do you know where this and that? You do, and you hit the word. The operative word was map. You hit the word on the nail on the head. Is you create a map in your mind. I mean, you don't necessarily have to see. Sometimes you just close your eyes, and if you go to a place, you can visualize. And you experience that place for a while or a day or whatever. You can visualize where certain places are and whatnot, and you just have a mental picture. But a lot of people who are visually impaired, it's like this. Whatever sense if you have all five of your senses, you use them all. But if you don't care to really try to learn any other ways of doing anything, because you figure you're gonna always have that particular situation to get an accident. But you definitely hit the nail on the head in terms of that's concerned. I want to ask you, if you had a great deal of sight, or just sight, just a little bit, what would you be doing different? Like, because a lot of people think about it, if by them being blind, or if they may be in a wheelchair or whatever. Man, if I could walk, if I could do this, this would be different. If you had sight, what would you be doing at this point in time in your life?
I actually go back to driving and helping my friends that didn't have a car get around like I used to. I've always been one to do service, and I had quite a few friends that didn't have a car. So whenever they needed to go to the store, if I was going to the store, I say, hey, I'm going to the store. Do you need to go?
Sound like my mom.
Go pay bills or whatever they needed to do. I was going to be out and about. So I would take them and do what we got to do.
Yep.
And now with grandkids, I'd probably take them clowns to the park and let them get ready to feed the ducks. But that would be about it.
Now, by the same token, do people assist you in whatever capacity that you need by you being visually impaired?
I have a few that do, but most of the time I try to stay independent as far as like getting where I need to go, which let's put it this way, time's constraint on VIA is a pain, but hey, at least you can get there under your own steam.
That's true. That is so true. And trying to depend on people as a blind person, just anybody in general, but more so as a blind person, it's hard because you really can't count on too many people. Now, when I was younger, I had friends galore, but as I've gotten older, they're hard to come about. And thanks to the emergence of Uber and all these other avenues that I could take advantage of. I want to ask you, like, do you think challenges like certain challenges that arise can be attributed to the fact you may live in a certain area, or you may have certain things that are allotted to blind people or visually impaired people in one area or one state or one part of the country that are not, what I'm saying?
Well, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Depending on where you are, it doesn't really matter as far as that goes, but you can have issues. I mean, like say you live in a rough area of town, you got to be able to be prepared to deal with it. Be able to know when and what time, when and where you can be out and about. Be open to what's going on around you. Pay attention to your surroundings. Know what you're getting into and out of at any given time, because you never know when you're going to need to have help.
Okay, that's definitely true. And also, can you expound on the fact that maybe certain services in certain areas that may not be allowed to you? Because as a blind person, I've talked to several people in various states, and certain services are offered in one part of the country or one state, and that may not be in others. So, do you think that also creates a challenge?
It does. It does, because then you got to get creative.
There you go.
Because if you don't have things like VIA or Metro Access, which is the service in Austin, if you don't have those and you don't have the regular bus, which I call the tube, if you don't have those services and you don't have Uber or Lyft, you have to have some kind of way to get around. And if you have a good friend that you seriously can depend on, that's his weight in gold. Whoever it is, whether it's a he or she, it doesn't matter. But if you don't have that even, you should be able to find, like, I'm hoping, but not everybody can afford this kind of stuff. Let's face it. An electric car or golf cart or something that could get you around. Some people even depend on 10-speed bikes if you're good at knowing where you are while you're rolling down the road.
Now, that's for people who have sight, but it's for the totally blind person. What kind of advice, which would be the next question, can you offer to them that can help them overcome their challenges and not sometimes feel so down to where, man, I'm blind, I can't do this and that? Because these days people still do that because there aren't any technologies that are offered in their area, or the fact that there are not any jobs, or they're having a hard time. So what can you say to them that can really, it's not gonna really make things better, but just give them some type of thought to know that, let me think of it in this capacity, because I had to go through a lot. What can you offer?
You've heard of the term, the squeaky wheel gets the grease?
Yes, I have.
You have to advocate. You have to. If it's not a service in your area, find out who can get it to you. Make yourself known. Hey, my name is so-and-so. I live such and such city, such and such state. I need to find out, where can I get such and such thing? Victor Stream. How do I get a hold of
Jaws?
How do I get a hold of NDVA? How do I get a hold of Be My Eyes? Whatever the case may be, open your mouth and talk. Okay. Don't sit back on your butt like a frog on a log. Ribbit is till they can't stand hearing the sound of your name.
I like
I'm
that.
sorry, I'm just calling it like
no,
that.
you cliche that no, you gotta no, we're not here to this on this show. You know, we're gonna keep it as I've always said, trill, keep it real and say what you feel. You know what I'm saying? So hey, and that's the truth, because some blind people have a tendency to complain, and you can attribute it to the fact that they don't have to go get the ability to go and get it, or they just don't know how. But by you providing that particular or those words of confidence, that can help out a great deal. Because sometimes you got to hit home. You can't sugarcoat things, because a lot of people think or want, as blind people, want us to do that. You want to, they feel that things should be sugarcoated. No, you like you just said, don't sit back. You got to open your mouth and whatnot. Go ahead.
Well, it's not just sugarcoating; it's also pigeonholing. I'm gonna call it like it is.
That's right.
Because a lot of people, when you are newly blind or have been blind for a while and haven't gotten anywhere, they tend to want to stick you. And not all jobs in the Division of Blind Services are bad jobs, but some of them are jobs that you can do with 1/4 of your brain and the rest of it shut down. Okay, and they only want to pay you $7 an hour. Well, if you're trying to make it with your money plus that $7 an hour, sometimes that's just not enough. Sometimes you got to have a job paying at least $9 to $10 an hour or better. And you can't do that sitting in Department of Blind Services, especially if some of these states don't pay nothing above minimum wage.
Right.
So again, you have to advocate. You have to open your mouth. You got to, be busy. Get on the internet. Look things up. There's jobs from home you can do. And I just recently found out that Amazon hires people that are visually impaired.
So
I didn't know that. And so does U-Haul. But you have to get on there and really look around.
That's real talk. Well, you definitely provided some information for me as well as my listeners, and as well as the people that have chimed in. I appreciate it, man. This was one of the best interviews that I've done. I definitely appreciate it. So what's next for as we wind down? What's next for you?
Right now I'm working on a book.
Okay.
A second book, actually. And it's a book about my living with my autoimmune disorder. So
wait, come again. What is it about?
It's a book about living with my autoimmune disorder.
Okay.
Literally, it's an autobiography of my life from the time I've been blind to now.
I hope to bring you back on in. Let me ask you this. Whenever you have some time in the future, could I bring you back? Because I was typing. I didn't want you to sound like, you're not even paying attention. But that's what I'm saying. Trying to so if I didn't catch anything, I'll call you again. But would you be interested in coming back in the future and telling us about the book?
Sure, no problem.
Okay. Well, Jo-Etta, tell the people why they should support the Parker Daniels Show.
Oh, man, you would put this on my feet, right?
Exactly. And I'm gonna come up there and take some of that good food y'all got out there. Because I mean,
no, you trying to get in my you ain't walking in my backyard when I start making bread next month. Nope.
That's what it is. Well, you need to come. Okay, I'll let you taste some of my mom's famous gumbo. How about that? And you down south, so you don't know.
Excuse me, I have Cajun roots, so bite me.
Okay, well.
While you're talking.
Hey,
bro, you walking the wrong street down.
Well, look, I can bring you up on it to talk about a lot of things, because I definitely love that Cajun food, but there's no Cajun food like the original. Like if you down south, it's good as we digress. Go ahead. I don't want like he talking about stuff. Go ahead. No, this is my show. Anyway, talk about your Cajun food. You probably can't do it the way the real Cajuns down here in Louisiana do it. I guarantee.
I put my okra, my rice, my shrimp, my everything, and then if I want to do a sausage and chicken, which I have to do around my son,
okay,
because he's now allergic to seafood, so I can't do the seafood gumbo around him.
Okay, well
I'm do chicken and sausage.
Okay, go ahead. While I write down the recipe, you say you put your what in there? You put what else in there so I can copy your food? Believe me, but you never was supposed to give away your recipe, so I already got it anyway. Go ahead.
Oh no, I didn't give it away yet. I didn't say how I did it. Now, did I?
Oh no, you
didn't. You ain't slick. Nope.
Yeah, tell everybody why you should. You're lovely. Tell everyone why they should
Oh
support
my God.
the Parker Daniels show.
Now,
Today.
you guys, when you get on this man's show, you are in for a ride that you will not believe.
Mm-hmm.
You will be in for a reality check you will not believe. But it's all 100%. Be real.
Thank you so much, girl. I ain't gonna lie to you. Well, you've heard it from Jo-Etta, and you said that your address is what? Because I'm gonna send the check. The check is in the mail. I appreciate it. Love you, man, for real. Thank you. I mean, you've been wonderful. One of my greatest supporters, and I thank you all for supporting the Parker Daniels show. The people that chimed in, I really appreciate that. That makes me feel a great deal. I'm getting a phone call while we're on live, and what have you. Busy man, but hey, y'all continue to subscribe, support, and I love y'all, man, for real. Thank y'all so much. Thank you, Jo-Etta. You can hang up and go and cook that lousy gumbo that you're about to cook.
What? Oh, you know you got something coming, don't you?
Oh, what's your email? My email is Parker Anthony225@gmail.com. So email that gumbo so I can really be on here tasting it. I might do a mukbang and test out what it's all about. But no, thanks, and you definitely enlightened everyone. You've enlightened me about the challenges, and everyone. Now y'all know that hey, we do go through some things. It's not a pity party. Just let y'all know, because if you weren't blind, there'll still be some challenges that you'll have to face. So, but as a blind, right?
Always.
So as a blind person, go ahead, take over the show. Go ahead. I'm gonna be quiet. What you were saying?
There's going to be challenges through every stage of you going through being blind. Whether you are newly blind, been only blind for a year or two, or be blind as long as 22 years, which I have, I still have challenges. But the thing is, you got to do one of two things. You either rise above it and meet it, or you sit down and let it run over you like the Red Sea ran over the Egyptians.
Amen.
It's your choice.
That's right. Real talk. Well, thank you, sweet. Thank you so much, and we're gonna keep in touch.
All right.
Okay, boo.
Later.